To the left, we have the LG C4. To the right, the Samsung S95D. And to the bottom, we have the LG C1. Now, this is something that I don't think many people are ready to admit. It is not necessarily to upgrade every couple of years. And in fact, they try to sell you on things like AI, which we already have. And I'm just here to tell you that it literally does nothing. Literally nothing to enhance the picture beyond what they say. Now, you're going to see with this example tons of similarities between the LG C1 and the LG C4. Too many to justify the price for sure. And as I look at it, I'm not seeing where I would need to upgrade. And in fact, there are so many examples where the C1 has brighter highlights, richer color. And I didn't actually expect the brighter highlight part. That's the part where it gets a little crazy. Now, I do remember a few years ago, people were saying that the LG C1, some of them have the Evo panel. And I don't really know anything about how R&D works, okay? But I do know when I'm looking at something that's not a clear advantage. Like in every single example that I am looking at, it is very obvious that when you talk about a television and you talk about an upgrade, you're not getting it in 2024. It's literally just the old models reskinned. And here is your proof. Look at this. How something like this even happens? Because when I do these comparisons, right, I make sure everything's fully optimized. I make sure everything has its best chance to compete. You already know, right? But then it gets to a point where you start looking at this and you're like, wait a minute, the C1 is brighter. The C1 actually is holding better highlights. Like in this example, the C1 is just brighter. It just is. And I love it too, because you won't see this on my end, and some of you guys won't even know what I'm talking about, but in nice Sony cameras, they have this thing called zebras. And that basically shows you when something is getting really bright. And the C1 has significantly more zebras on it than what I have on the LG C4. It's ridiculous. It's like literally, like especially like these bright highlights lighting up. And it's closer to the kind of image quality we would get on the S95D. I'm almost at a loss for words. Like, it's weird to me. Now, don't get me wrong, the C4 has a beautiful picture post my settings. Without my settings, not so much. You guys kind of already know the deal with that. If you aren't rocking my settings, good luck. The C4 will look left behind to a point where you won't really enjoy your experience. Now, I'll show you what I'm talking about, because I'm sure to some I sound crazy. To which I'll just go ahead and show you this. Okay, we're going to open up our settings. I use the auto power save mode, but if you use standard, it'll be washed out. If you use cinema, which is a mode everybody runs to, this is how the C4 will do versus settings that I make. And this is more so for people who would try to naysay and say, oh, you're not giving the C4 a fair chance. You did something to the C4. I'll just show you what it would look like again without my help. With me removed as a factor, this is what it would look like, filmmaker mode. You know, like a very washed picture that doesn't really excite anyone. And it would quickly get blown away even by, you know, its own model from 4 years ago. So just kind of let that sink in, that this is how your TV will ship to you. And again, for $4, $5, you'll be able to get this image that blows away anything LG was able to do on their own. Now, that said, looking at this, I just don't understand the direction. Because in every instance, I mean, they look like a match. The green is way stronger on the C1 comparatively to the G4 or the C4. Now, I'm not mentioning the S95B very often, or S95D very often to the top right, because the S95D clearly wins. It beats both of them. However, this isn't necessarily the case for every single example. So in some examples, you'll notice that the LG C1 will pull ahead of even the S95B. Again, in some examples. It will depend on what you're watching. Things with blues and cyans mostly, that's where LG is going to pull ahead. Not that Samsung does a terrible job, as you can clearly see. It's just not going to give you the exact same thing that you would see on LG with its greatest advantages. The greens, though, on the Samsung are phenomenal. They are to die for. But then when you look at what we have going on the C4, it's the most washed picture between the three, hands down. And looking at it, it becomes very obvious that from a contrast perspective, it has kind of less contrast than what I'm getting on the C1. And the C1 has richer color. And in some instances, like now with the green and the orange, it's far richer on the C1, where the C4 is just left behind at this point. The C1 starts to feel more like a QD OLED by comparison to what LG has done with the C4, and that shouldn't be the case because this is the same company and the same exact technology. And I'm sorry, but if their brand new Gen whatever we're on processor isn't getting the job done, then they might want to go backwards. Like quite literally. Like if the older TVs are this capable, they might want to start looking at how they built them, taking their own notes and study them instead of just listening to positive reviews. Tell them, hey, you're the best thing out since sliced bread. Because as I sit here on my end, all I can say is I'm not seeing it. It just doesn't make sense. Now, that part aside, again, all these TVs, for the most part, will make people who have older TVs happy. This review really isn't for people who have ancient TVs that they're upgrading from, because a potato would impress you in 2024. That's just honest, because old TVs don't typically have all of the bells and whistles that we have today. But when you're looking at what I think like your options are, I think that's really where this becomes a real conversation of, okay, I've come to the ball game with a certain amount of money and I'm going to spend a certain amount of money. And when you start trying to spend a certain amount of money, you'll realize that most of this is smoke and mirrors. And that's really the feeling that you'll have. You'll walk away from it. Like, for example, LG will market their AI. They'll market up to 30% brighter. I'm sure everybody saw the 30% brighter marketing ploy. But when you look at it versus what they were doing even 4 years ago, literally, with, again, the C1, it literally is showing you in real time. Like, it's smoke and mirrors, because how is the C1 providing you 99% of the picture quality of the C4? And again, 4 years old. That's the part where I kind of lose patience with it, because when I'm seeing a richer picture on the C1 and I'm seeing the C4 just kind of fall behind, I mean, I'm a big anime fan, right? And to see all of these anime scenes look so much better on my TV I have right now, why the hell would a person like me upgrade? Anybody has that answer, leave it in the comments, but I don't see a reason to upgrade. I have the C1, and the C1 is doing better right now than this brand new TV. Coined the phrase, newer isn't always better. And I'll give you one more. You do not always get what you pay for. You get what companies are able to get away with. Because I'll tell you right now, the only reason this is happening is because they're able to get away with it, because people will keep buying it. People will maybe not even watch this video or even take it seriously enough and go, oh, he's just hating on LG to hate. Meanwhile, I own the C1 and I have for 4 years. I love my LG C1. Are you kidding? It's fantastic. But this becomes such a problem, because it's like when you want a high quality set, good luck, because you have to really fight this uphill battle of trying to figure out where the quality is going to be. Now, again, that doesn't mean that in every example the C4 will fall behind. It just means that, again, overall, picture quality wise, you're not going to get everything that you would expect. And I think, like, rather than just go at this like a straight up comparison like I normally would, I'd just rather just tell you, like, and just talk to you like a person, because like I'm baffled right now. Like, it's super late at night, I'm doing this comparison, and then I see this as a result, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like honestly, what the fuck happened? Like, how does it get so bad that this is the best that they could do? The best that they could do is literally getting beaten by themselves 4 years ago. I don't know, man. That's weak sauce if you ask me, but let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. And again, if you have any kind of requests or anything you'd like me to show you on this, if you think this was maybe an unfair comparison, let me know. Because again, I'll be showing more of the LG C4 versus the Samsung S95D versus the LG C1. So we can get a better understanding as to where these TVs are and are not performing. But that being said, again, until the next video, I'll see you guys later.